Hello all, myself Dr. M. Laxmidevi, Associate Professor in the Department of CSCDS at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video lecture, we will discuss some of the definitions and terminology which are there in Module 1. So, Module 1 says about the different, in Module 1, we have topics like Introduction to Computer, then the different components of a computer. Apart from that, we have also the concepts of algorithm, pseudocode and flowchart. Then apart from this, we also have the basics of C programming language, like what are the different data types, then how do you convert the data from one type to another one. So these are the topics which have been covered. Apart from this, there are also concepts like C tokens, so which are the basic building blocks of C programming language. So in this, we are going to see the different definitions. So these are the definitions we will be seeing in this video lecture. So first one is, what is algorithm? We are going to see the definition of algorithm. Then after that, pseudocode. So what is a pseudocode? For what purpose it is used, and along with some example. Then what are reserved words? So any programming language has some certain set of words which are reserved for specific purpose. So they cannot be used in the programming language. So these are reserved words. Then we have the concept of typecasting. So typecasting is conversion from one data type to another. So for that also we will see the definition. Next one is compiler. So in any programming language, compiler plays an important role. So mostly in C programming language, compiler is a program or software tool, you can say, which is used to convert the language, high level language to machine level language. So next is flowchart. So flowchart is also one way of solving a problem. So here we have the pictorial representation of the problem. The way of solving the problem is given in terms of symbols, and these symbols are arranged in an appropriate order. So next one is variable. So concept of variable we are going to see, and then the last one is constant. So let us see the first one, that is algorithm. First we will see the definition of algorithm. So according to various authors, so there are different definitions given for algorithm. So the first one is in the textbook named or titled Introduction to Algorithms. So which has been authored by Thomas, then Charles, Ronald and then Clifford. So algorithm is any well-defined computational procedure, so which takes some value or set of values as input and produces some value or set of values as output. So algorithm is thus a sequence of computational steps, so that transforms the input to output. So that is the definition of given in this textbook. Next one we have in the textbook title algorithms. According to Robert and Kevin, so algorithm is step-by-step procedure or formula, you can say, for solving a problem. So suppose we need to solve a problem. So the different steps involved in solving a problem, so that is defined in terms of algorithm. So algorithm gives the step-by-step procedure for solving a given problem. So next, according to Robert, so in the textbook titled Algorithms in C++, algorithm, we can say that it is a finite set of precise instructions. So this is one of the important property of algorithm. So it should have finite set of instructions. The instructions also should be precise for performing a computation or solving a problem in a finite amount of time. So it decides the time as well as in certain or finite number of steps also. Next one is, so this is another definition of algorithm. So in the textbook title Data Structures and Algorithm Analysis in C++, so according to Mark A, algorithm is a step-by-step procedure, often mathematical in nature, which must be performed to solve a certain problem or class of problems. Next one, according to the design and analysis of algorithms, so we can say that algorithm is a sequence of unambiguous instructions. So there should not be any ambiguity in the instructions which is given for solving a problem. So that is for obtaining a required output for any legitimate input in a finite amount of time. So thus we can summarize according to the various definitions given by various authors. So we can summarize the definition of algorithm as it is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem, and the instructions are each procedure has and the algorithm has finite set of instructions which is useful to solve the problem in a finite amount of time, and also the instructions must be unambiguous. So this is what we can summarize from the different definitions given. Next one is, what is pseudocode? So define pseudocode. So according to Wikipedia, pseudocode is a way of expressing a computer algorithm that does not conform to the syntax rules of any particular programming language. So here it is nothing but it is a mix of programming. It does not follow the rules of any programming language. So it is also a way of solving a problem, but it does not follow or adhere to the syntax rules of any programming language. Next, according to this, the textbook titled Introduction to Algorithms by Thomas H. and Corman. So pseudocode is high-level description of an algorithm that uses a mixture of natural language and simple programming constructs. So next, according to this, according to Robert and Kevin in the textbook titled Algorithms, pseudocode is a simple way of describing an algorithm independent of programming language specific. So apart from algorithm, we can also give the solution or procedure to solve a particular problem in terms of pseudocode also. But the pseudocode is different from algorithm. Pseudocode does not take into consideration the syntax rules of the programming language. Next, according to the textbook titled Data Structures and Algorithm Analysis in C++ by Mark Allen, pseudocode is a compact and informal high-level description of a computer programming language intended for human reading. So pseudocode is human readable language. Pseudocode is written in such a way that it is human readable. It is a compact and informal high-level description of a computer programming algorithm intended for human reading. So next one. So according to the textbook title Problem Solving with Algorithms and Data Structures by Brad Miller and David, pseudocode is informal, high-level description of operating principle of a computer program or an algorithm. Next, according to algorithms, according to Robert and Kevin, in the textbook titled Algorithms, pseudocode is an artificial and informal language that helps programmers develop algorithms. So, according to from these definitions, we can summarize the definition of algorithm as it is an informal, human-readable representation of an algorithm, so that bridges the gap between natural language and actual programming code. So, it serves as a tool for algorithm design, allowing programmers to plan and describe the logic of a solution before actual implementation. Or in other way, you can see that it is an informal way of programming description. So in order to write a program, so this is another way of, it is an informal way of programming description that does not require any strict programming language syntax or underlying technology considerations. In other way, you can say that it is used for creating an outline or rough draft of a program. So for example, you can write the pseudocode. Suppose you have a problem like if for a given number n, you have to check whether the given number is even or odd. So for this problem, you have to write the pseudocode. So you can write the So from this definition of pseudocode, so this is how you can write the definition. You can write the pseudocode for that problem. So first you need to read the number. First you need to start. Then after that, so display, enter the number. So after this, you need to read the number. Then after that, you have to check the condition if the number is even or odd. Then inside the if condition, if this number mod 2 is equal to 0, then you have to write or display even. Else, what you have to display is, you have to display it as odd. Then this is end of if else statement. At the end you have to stop. So in this way you can write the pseudocode for a given number to check whether it is even or odd. Next one is reserved word. So reserved word is a word that cannot be used as an identifier such as the name of a variable, function or label. It is reserved from use. That means we cannot use those words in our programming language. Let us see the definition. So according to Wikipedia, in computer programming, a reserved word is a word that cannot be used as an identifier such as the name of the variable, function or label. It is reserved from being used for such purposes. So according to various authors like Michael, given in the textbook titled Programming Language Pragmatics, reserved words are words which are treated specially by the compiler. So they are part of the language and they cannot be used as identifiers. And next, according to this book, C Programming Absolute Beginner's Guide by Perry and Miller, so reserved words are words that have special meaning to C programming language and cannot be used for any other purpose like naming the variables. Next, according to this book, Python Programming for Absolute Beginners by Michael, reserved words, they are also known as keywords. So the other name for reserved word is keyword. So these are special words which have specific meaning and cannot be used as identifiers. Next, according to the book titled Java, the Complete Reference by Herbert. So reserved words are words which are defined by Java language and cannot be used for any other purpose. Next, according to this textbook Programming in Scala by Martin, reserved words in Scala, they have predefined meanings in language and they cannot be used as identifiers. So from these different definitions given in the various textbooks, we can say that reserved words, so the other name for reserved words is keywords. The other name for reserved words is keywords, and then so these cannot be used for any other purpose. So these are keywords which are already defined in the compiler or in the programming language. Any programming language you take, whether it is a Python program or Scala or Ruby or Java or C or C++. So these reserved words, they are not to be used as for naming the variables, or they cannot be used as identifiers also. Next one is typecasting. So typecasting is a process, you can say that it refers to changing a variable of one data type to another. So in any programming language, we have the data type of the variable. So variable, we'll also see the definition of a variable. So any variable has a data type. So we can convert the variable data type from one type to another one. So we can do it explicitly as well as implicitly. So one of the type conversion is typecasting. So let us see the definition and then we'll summarize the concept. So according to Wikipedia, in computer science, typecasting, type conversion and type coercion. So these are different ways of changing an expression from one data type to another. According to Stephen, in the book titled Programming in C, typecasting is a process of explicitly or implicitly changing a value from one data type to another. According to Herbert, in the textbook titled Java, the Complete Reference, typecasting is a process of converting a variable from one data type to another. Next, according to the textbook titled C++ Primer by Stanley, then Josie and then Barbara, typecasting is a process of making a value of one type look and act like a value of another type. So according to Eric, in this textbook, Python Crash Course, typecasting is the process of changing an object's type. Next, according to the author, Tim, so which has been written, the name of the textbook is Programming in Java. Typecasting is the act of explicitly converting one data type to another. So here we can say that from these different definitions, we can summarize that typecasting is an explicit way of converting the data type, the variable data type from one type to another one. So it is explicit conversion of data type is known as typecasting. Next definition we are going to see is compiler. So what is compiler? So in any programming language, compiler plays a key role. So let us see the definitions and then we'll summarize the definition of a compiler. So according to Wikipedia, compiler is a special program that processes the statements written in a particular programming language and turns them into machine language or code that a computer's processor uses. So thus you can say that it is a special program which is used for processing the statements which are written in a particular programming language. So any programming language is written in high level language. So the processing of those high level language is done by the special program called as compiler. And then after processing those statements, they are turned into machine language or code which a computer processor uses. So according to so here in this textbook, Compilers, Principles, Techniques and Tools by Alfred, then Monica, and then Ravi, and then Jeffrey. Compiler is a program. So compiler is a program which translates a source program written in some high-level programming language into machine code for some computer architecture. So this is the definition given in this textbook. Next, according to Michael, in the textbook titled Introduction to Theory of Computation, compiler is a program that translates a source program into an equivalent target program. So it takes one program and converts it into another program called as that is the target program. Next one is so in the textbook title Programming Language Pragmatics by Michael, compiler is a program that translates a program written in one language into an equivalent program in another language. So in the textbook titled Computer Science and Overview, authored by Glenn and Dennis, compiler is a program that translates a high-level language program into machine language. So this is a definition we mostly use. Compiler is a program or it is a software, you can say, that translates high-level language program into machine language. Next, modern compiler implementation in Java. So this textbook which has been authored by Andrew. So according to him, compiler is a program that translates a source program in a high-level language into an equivalent target program. So from these different definitions, we can summarize that compiler is a software tool, or it is a software program, you can say, that takes source code written in high-level programming language and then translates it into machine code or equivalent low-level representation that can be executed by a computer. So this plays a very important role in software development process by facilitating the translation of human readable code. So translation of human readable code is done with the help of this compiler. Next one is flowchart. So flowchart is a diagram which represents a workflow, process, system or computer algorithm. So just a representation of representation of algorithm in terms of picture or graphical view. Graphical view of algorithm is known as flowchart, you can say. So it depicts the separate steps of a process in sequential order. So according to Wikipedia, flowchart is a type of diagram. So it is a diagram which represents a process showing the steps of a process as boxes and their order by connecting them with arrows. Next, according to in this textbook, flowchart, programming and organizing, problem solving and documenting computer software systems by Jean and Dan. So flowchart is pictorial representation of a system or portion of it. So according here in this textbook, System Analysis and Design and Object-Oriented Approach with UML by Alan, then Barbara and David. Flowchart is pictorial or graphical representation of a system that shows the input, processing and output stages of a process. So any problem you take, it requires some input and it does some processing and then gives the output. So these different stages of problem solving, they are depicted in the form of a flowchart. Structured systems analysis and design methodology. So this textbook which has been authored by Chris Gain and Trish. Flowchart is graphical representation of a system. So Introduction to Operation Research by Frederick and Gerard. Flowchart is diagrammatic representation which illustrates the sequence of operations to be performed to arrive at the solution of a problem. So next one, according to Data Structures and Algorithms Made Easy by Narasimha, flowchart is a diagrammatic representation of a process or algorithm using different symbols. So here we use symbols when we are drawing the flowchart. So as we know that it is diagrammatic representation of a process or algorithm. So algorithm is represented in the form of diagram. So that diagrammatic representation is known as flowchart. So in the diagrams we have different symbols. Like this is one of the symbol. This is for start and stop. This is for decision making, and this symbol is used for reading and outputting and for reading the input values and to print the data on the screen and output the data. Next one is one more symbol we have. So arrow symbol we have to indicate the flow of the program. So flowchart is visual representation that uses various symbols to depict the steps or stages of a process, the flow of data and decision points. Now let us see one example of flowchart. So for example, we'll take one simple program. Suppose we want to check whether a given number n is even or odd. So for that we can draw the flowchart. So in this way, first you need to start. The first step is to start. The next step is indicated by this. So this is how the flow will go on. So in the next step you need to read the number. So read the number or input the number. So after you input the number, next step is to check whether it is even or odd. So if the number mod 2 is equal to 0, then it is even. If this is true, yes means yes or no. Or you can say it is true or false. So if it is true, then print even. If it is false, print odd. Else stop. Stop or end you can write here also. You can write end also. So this is how you can draw the flowchart for a very simple program. So that program is to check whether the given number is even or odd. So here we have used different symbols. So these are the different symbols which we have used in the flowchart. Next definition is variable. A variable is nothing but a name given to a storage area that our programs can manipulate. So that value, each variable in C has a specific type which determines the size and layout of the variable's memory. So according to the data type of the variable, so here specific type is nothing but the data type of the variable. So according to the data type of the variable, it will occupy different, the size of that variable will be different. The size of the variable will be dependent upon the data type of the variable. So according to Wikipedia, in computer programming, a variable or scalar is a storage location paired with an associate symbolic name which contains some known or unknown quantity of information referred to as value. Then in this textbook Programming in C by Stephen, a variable is a named storage location in memory that is used to hold a value that may be changed by the program. So in the computer memory, you can say that. So in the memory, so each memory has some address, or so that address. So at that particular address, for that particular address, what is the name given to that address? So that is nothing but a variable. So Java, the complete reference by Herbert. So according to him, variable is, it provides us with named storage that our programs can manipulate. So in the textbook title C++ Primer written by Stanley, then Josie and Barbara, variable is named object that a program can manipulate. Then according to Python Crash, in the textbook title Python Crash Course by Eric, variable is like a box in computer's memory where you can store a single value. So next is computer science, an overview. So in the textbook Computer Science and Overview by J. Glenn, And then is variable is a storage location paired with an associated symbolic name that contains a value. So next, in this way you can summarize the definition of a variable. A variable is a symbolic name associated with a storage location in a computer's memory. So it represents a value that can be manipulated or changed during the execution of the program. So the value associated with the variable can be changed during the execution of the program. That means its value is not constant. So next definition is identifiers. So let us see the definition given by various authors for the identifier. Identifiers or symbols, these are the names given for variables, types, functions and labels in our programs. So we cannot use keywords as identifiers. So this is one important rule we need to follow. So we cannot use keywords as identifiers. Keywords are nothing but reserved words. Next, according to Wikipedia, in computer science, an identifier is a name given to a program element such as variable, function or label. So in any programming language, we have various concepts like variable, function, labels, then enumerator. So for those concepts, so we need to name them. So in order to name them, we have the concept called as identifier. So which is used to uniquely identify it during the execution of a program. So in the textbook title, Programming in C++ by Jane Stroustrup, identifier is a name for a variable, function, array or any other user-defined item. So this is the definition it has been given. Identifier is a name given for variable, function, array or any other user-defined item. For example, we have name of the function as, suppose this is how we write the prototype of the function, the return type of the function, after that the name of the function. Suppose you write fun is the name of the function and inside this you write the parameters. So here fun is the name of the function. So this name is nothing but the name given to the function is called as identifier. Next one, in order to specify an array, we write it in square brackets. So this is the name given to the array. So next, if you write in this way, so this is the name given to the variable. So all these names, so it is nothing but a name. Identifier is a name given for a variable, for a function, array or any other user-defined item. So for example, structure is a user-defined data type. So we define it by using the keyword struct followed by some name. So here name is nothing but the identifier. Next, in the textbook title, Java the Complete Reference by Herbert, an identifier is name given to a variable, a class or method or any other user-defined item. Next, according to the textbook title, Programming with Java, a multimedia approach by Radhika, an identifier is name given to a variable, method, class or any other user-defined item. So same definition is given here also. Then in the textbook title, C Programming Absolute Beginner's Guide by Perry and Miller, identifier is name given to a variable, function, array or any other user-defined item. So here also same definition is given. Here in this textbook Python crash course, here identifier is name used to identify a variable, function, class or user-defined item. So class is also, so in object-oriented programming, we use the concept of class to combine the attributes and methods. So we write this, class is followed by class name. So that is also an identifier. Identifier is name assigned to a program element. So this is how you can summarize the concept of identifier. Identifier is the name assigned to a program element. So these identifiers, they play a crucial role. So they play a very important role in programming languages. So which helps developers to create and reference variables, functions and other entities in the programs. So thus identifier plays a very important role. Next one is formatted input. So what is formatted input? So formatted input is, in C programming language, we have a function called as scanf function. So this is used to read data this is used for formatted input from standard input and provides many of the conversion facilities of function printf. So printf is a function which provides the data in a printed which provides the data in a formatted way. So that means the data is printed on the screen in a formatted way with the help of printf function. So let us see the different definitions of formatted input. So according to Wikipedia, formatted input refers to reading input from a formatted source, often based on a specific data format or structure. Next, in the textbook title, C Programming Absolute Beginner's Guide by Perry and Miller, formatted input involves reading input data in a specified format, such as reading numbers or strings in a specific arrangement. So for example, in C program, you have scanf function for formatted input. So scanf comes under formatted input function. So this is how you can read the data. So in order to read a character, so percentage %C is the format specifier to read a character, and percentage %D is the format specifier to read an integer. Next one, in the programming, in this textbook titled Programming in C by Stephen G. Cochin, formatted input involves reading data from the source, such as keyboard or a file, according to a specified format. So in the textbook title Java the Complete Reference by Herbert, formatted input is reading data from the source in such a way that it adheres to specific format or structure. Next, in the textbook title Python Crash Course by Eric, formatted input in Python involves reading data from the source, such as the source can be the user or the file, so while adhering to a particular format. Then C++ Primer, written by Stanley, Josie and Barbara, formatted input involves reading data from the source in a structured manner, often based on a specified format. So formatted input is the process of reading input data in a structured and specified manner, often based on a predefined format. So this is how you can summarize the definition of formatted input. Next, formatted output. So in C language, we have the printf function. So this is used for formatted output. So let us see the definitions. Formatted output. Formatted output refers to the process of presenting output data in a specified and structured way, often based on specific data format or arrangement. C Programming Absolute Beginner's Guide. So in this textbook, which has been authored by Perry and Miller, formatted output involves displaying data in a specified format, such as printing numbers or strings in a particular arrangement. In the textbook title Programming in C by Stephen, formatted output involves displaying data to the destination, such as the screen or file, according to the specified format. So suppose we want to get the data in this way. So 10 is even, or you can say the number 10 is even. So in order to get the data in this format, or also in order to print the data in this format, so we can do this by using printf function in C programming language. So this is called as formatted output. So Java the Complete Reference by Herbert, formatted output is the process of presenting data in a structured way, adhering to a specified format or layout. So in Python Crash Course by Eric, formatted output in Python involves displaying data in a specified format, ensuring particular arrangement or appearance. Then in the textbook title C++ Primer by Stanley, then Josie and Barbara, formatted output involves presenting data to a destination such as console or file. So we can print the data on the screen so that screen is nothing but console or the file in a structured manner based on a specified format. So these are the various definitions of formatted output. Next, let us see the definition of coercion. The conversion of value into another type of a different data type. So this kind of conversion, so that is converting the data type from one type to another. So it can be implicit or it can be explicit. So implicit conversion, which is also called as coercion, is automatically done. Now let us see the definitions of coercion according to various authors. So in Wikipedia, according to this Wikipedia, in computer science, type coercion, type conversion, and typecasting, these are different ways of changing an expression from one data type to another. So result of an expression will give your data type. So in order to change the data type, so you need to typecast or type convert it. You need to do it implicitly or explicitly. So implicit conversion is type coercion. So coercion is the process of converting a value from one type to another. So according to Douglas, given in the textbook JavaScript, the good parts. Then by James Trautstrup, programming in C++, coercion is the process of implicitly converting one data type to another, often performed by the compiler. So this implicit conversion is done by the compiler itself. Python Programming for Absolute Beginner by Michael. So coercion is the automatic conversion of one data type to another. Next, according to Herbert, in the textbook title Java the Complete Reference, coercion is automatic conversion of one data type to another, typically which is performed by the compiler itself. So according to Michael, programming language pragmatics, coercion refers to automatic conversion of values from one type to another, so typically performed by the language runtime. So coercion is the process of converting data type from one type to another. So it is done automatically. So automatic conversion of one data type to another is called as coercion. Next one is constant. So constant is a value which cannot be altered by the program during normal execution. So term constant means it is a value which will not change during the execution of the program. So we have different constants like numeric constants, then string constants you have in different programming languages. So numeric constants can be, for example, such as 5. So this is an integer constant. This is a float constant. So the other constant, then which are used directly in the code. Then we have string constants. So to an array of characters, we can assign a string constant. So this is a string constant, which is enclosed in double quotes. So in C programming language, anything which is enclosed in double quotes, so that becomes a string constant. So fixed sequences of characters enclosed in quotes. So in languages like C and C++, so preprocessor directives can also be used to define the constants, which are processed by the compiler before the actual compilation. For example, this is how you can define a constant by using this statement, by using the hash define statement. So pi value, wherever we encounter this variable pi, so that is assigned a value 3.14. So this is a constant value of pi which is assigned to pi. So pi will be equal to 3.14. In object-oriented programming, constants can be associated with classes also. So for example, in Java program, we can define the constants by using the keyword final. So a keyword is the access. Here, if you have the access modifier as the final, so before the variable, so final double pi. So final is the keyword which is used to declare that a particular variable value is constant. If you want to modify anytime in the program, if you are modifying the value of pi now, suppose some 6, then it is not able to change. So this will, pi is equal to 6 will be considered as wrong. Next one, this is also a constant variable, constant value here. So in this way, we have seen the definitions of various terms encountered in module 1. So that is algorithm, pseudocode, flowchart, typecasting, compiler, etc. In the next video lecture, we'll see some more definitions given in C programming language. Until then, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.